Hey guys, welcome back to another What If. Today we're doing the final part to What If Naruto wakes up as a girl after a rave. And yeah guys, if you just want to know what happened in the last part, or you haven't watched, or somewhat you're new to the series and you're somewhat wanting to obviously very much, need to know what happened in the last 9 parts. So there is a link in the description down below which takes you to the this What Ifs playlist where you can watch all of them in order from 1 to this current one, 9, or you can watch this all the way through, and when the end screen screen cards pop up, you can top left hand corner of the screen will be the card, the somewhat playlist card, which will take you to the exact same playlist. And yeah, with that away, let's get into this. So the somewhat 5 Kage, yes, somewhat Gaara, even though somewhat Gaara had initially gone with the other 9 Jinchuriki to get to obviously train and control their tail beast chakra, somewhat didn't really want to, and Dryhead just told him to somewhat go, and that he didn't really somewhat need to say Kage. So yeah, nod and would somewhat go back and talk to the other Kage to obviously somewhat force us on that. And yeah, so that, and the reason kind of why was because for up until he was 12 or 13 years old somewhat, and whenever he'd first met with the, or at least heard its sort of voice, it told him that it was his mother. So so that could be 13, 12, 11 or 10 odd years, probably 10 to 9 years straight, calling the tailed beast Shikaku, the one-tailed somewhat Tanuki, whatever it is, it's somewhat his mother. Yeah, he's not going to be too willing now, but yeah. Anyway, though, somewhat due to, in fact, obviously driving, surviving, it would be with the other 8, because it would have obviously somewhat a seal that can suppress the somewhat their tail beast chakra, and also cause somewhat now to be there, so she could also use her chakra chains to suppress ones that were going wild, out of control. And yeah, which had been come in handy several times, and yeah, of course somewhat and yeah, it was going to be a battle, a somewhat war, of course, as it was somewhat Toby, the last member. I don't even remember who was the somewhat last. I know I only stated that Naruto had killed 4 of the Akatsuki, and while the 5th one would be somewhat dead, which by Sasuke's hands, because that was his brother. Yeah, so yeah. Anyway, those somewhat because of obviously Toby in that, and yeah, I stated that in the part 8, last part. Yeah, anyway, so they would be somewhat, so the other 8 Jinchuriki would somewhat be training. Of course, Naruto had gotten control over the somewhat Fox's chakra, Kuma's chakra, but without taking it from him like he did in canon, canon Naruto, or canon Naruto Shippuden. And yeah, so no stealing chakra from someone 9 times. It was pretty much still within his own body and that. And yeah, though also just a somewhat thought I had in the last version of this, which I've deleted, which was that it stated that Kinkaku, some of the Kinkaku brothers, the 2 of them, had been swallowed by the 9-tails and had survived from eating its insides and had gained some of its chakra. But isn't the 9-tailed beast Kurama and the other the other somewhat 9-tailed beasts, and that's just a massive amount of chakra, sentient chakra. So doesn't that just mean that they ate chakra and not actual kind of somewhat meat in that, well, stomach lining or whatever they ate? I think it's stomach. Yeah, so they'd survived on pure 9-tailed chakra. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole I don't really want to jump into or go down. But yeah, that's just a rabbit hole I'd thought not long ago. And yeah, anyway. So yeah, anyway, they would kind of collect. Well, yeah, so the 5 of them, the 5 Kage, and that would mass all their shinobi guard somehow still be in control, and they would go to aim the land of rain, to which Dry would know was the very much obviously capital, or where the Akatsuki were, and from what they knew, that would also be where Toby was. And so they would march down through somewhat, they'd obviously aim would obviously they would march into aim, and obviously Toby would simply sitting there smirking as Reino and Shinobi that pretty much saw either pain or that as their leader, and who had they'd killed and that. So they would obviously start fighting back. It would be a war in which an entire country would be destroyed. And well, yeah, granted it was a tiny country, barely even somewhat noticeable, and yeah, though for they would know it, of course his army, though of course working with what's his name, Capito, would obviously bring back the dead as well, so the dead were all also attacking them, dead shinobi and that. And yeah, Sasuke and all of this would have gone back to Konoha to do his thing like he would in canon, and as the fight would of course go on, now they would end up realizing they needed the other the other 8 Jinchuriki, so they would send a message to Biden, which would arrive a day or so later, and from there, or at least after reading that, they would of course go in, and inform, or at least knock on the door to which the room was, in which from there they would obviously tell the others that they were required to aid in the war. They ignored, and they would go out, though, try and put or at least his sole hand on Naruto, and would tell her to be safe and to come back alive, to which she'd smile and she'd go, of course, pervy sage. Yeah, I don't plan on dying anytime soon, not until I've become Hokage. You'd smile and you'd just nod at that, and you'd take off, but obviously release her, and she'd follow the rest. And from there they would proceed to head towards aim, where it was happening. And yeah, once they would arrive, they would just see armies of not reincarnated people who'd been brought back to life from the reanimation jutsu. And yeah, one of them would simply be Sasuke's brother Itachi, who noticing them, and or at least Naruto, and being in slight control at the moment, would run over Naruto obviously someone turns up to fight, so the others when you'd simply somewhat, or at least would do a couple of hand signs, and next thing should know a giant freaking crow would come out of her mouth, and they would just stare at her, and she'd be, the sheer someone's look of confusion would be on her face, so they knew she didn't know about it. And as Kabuto would someone realise one of the someone going simply against his somewhat will, he'd focus more of his will, but he would end up failing because he would end up managing to cast the Genjutsu somewhat. He'd break the control over the reanimation, and from there he would then seal away pain, and after that he would then tell them that he was going to end the reanimation to someone help them out. They would nod, and from there of course the somewhat other Kage would meet up with them, and they would meet up with the other somewhat Kage, and before long seemingly somewhat Madara would end up arriving, and he would end up trying to do a couple of hand signs, in which the fox should somewhat slightly wince, to which the others would ask if she somewhat okay. She'd nod, and she'd wonder what was that, and fox would somewhat snarl and state, "Madara, how dare you try and summon me?" And Madara would somewhat turn his head to Tobio and state, "You don't have the 9 tails yet." And he'd shake, "I have none of them, they're all in front of you." And somewhat stand at them. And Tobio would proceed to somewhat ramble off which one was which, and though he'd state he wasn't exactly truly sure which one was the trick of the 3 tails, but he had a somewhat idea, seemingly as the pink head seemed to be releasing a tiny amount of Tobi's chakra. And though as the fighting would somewhat get more somewhat more intense eventually, and of course as somewhat they were obviously getting tired, and that, well, not really, but as some of them somewhat were, especially somewhat Gaara, as he'd been fighting for 2 or 3 days now, maybe even 4 or 5, probably close to the 3 to 4 day mark, about 3 days. Now Madara would end up somewhat striking, seeing that the one-tails Jinchuriki was somewhat that, and the somewhat others, especially similarly somewhat the 9-tails Jinchuriki, was simply somewhat occupied. He would send out the 10 tails chain, in which would, and they would manage to somewhat it would similarly enter straight into somewhat Gaara, which would somewhat gasp, and then would feel a chunk simply rip out of him. Not skin, but chakra. The Shikaku, the 1-tails, would be ripped from him. And as it would somewhat slam in Naruto, they would somewhat hear these sound change, and they would somewhat momentarily look to Naruto, to which he'd look at them, and then she'd go wide-eyed, and they would do a 180 or 90 or 180, and they would just somewhat see and go trying to gasp, and Madara would somewhat think he'd drop damn dead. That was perceived, it was common knowledge that any Jinchuriki with that beast ripped out of them or transferred would die. Yet he didn't. What is this? You should be dead. Madara would somewhat shout in some slight amount of curiosity, a sliver of curiosity. And he would just somewhat, though Gaara would somewhat look up and would simply state, "Well, it seems like it worked. You saved my life." Naruto should go, I'm just thankful it actually somewhat works. Madrid somewhat narrow his eyes when he'd somewhat click and he'd go, so Ninetales and Cherokee figured out a way to somewhat prolong their the somewhat lifespan of someone, of a somewhat Cherokee without no tailed beast. They'll just die soon. So go, but if it properly works, he may never die until somewhat he may, the day he would die, somewhat, well, if it properly works, you won't be dying in next. Well, you won't be dying until something tries to kill him, be that old age or a shinobi. Madara just somewhat narrow his eyes and he'd figure all of them had it, which, well, yeah, okay, so the only one, she'd somewhat, well, yeah, and considering the fact that the Ninetales Cherokee also seems to have be a redhead, seeing that she, and obviously seeing someone her back with the red spiral, seeing that obviously Nichijou and Uzumaki probably half, but not, but, well, yeah, though he would know of Uzumaki's ability to survive a tail beast extraction, so he wouldn't, someone wouldn't know, but he'd have a vague idea that he'd have a potential, he thought that she may be able to survive it by her just being Uzumaki's having, incredibly strong life forces, so maybe, but yeah, though she's only somewhat half, so no, maybe, no, definitely not. Anyway, yeah, so though somewhat from that, due to obviously somewhat that kind of shock, he'd managed to get the somewhat two tails before Naruto would snap out of her somewhat, before she kind of go right, and yeah, she'd somewhat send, use a somewhat chain, so just as the similar a third chain would try and get the, well, to Sakura, it would similarly just Sakura just somewhat shut her eyes, as the next thing she'd hear was, the very much sound of a chain slamming into something immovable and unbreakable. Her eyes would somewhat float open, and literally a centimetre, say about 5 to 10 centimetres away from her was the chain. She'd momentarily be confused when she'd somewhat see and, be able to somewhat would really register, golden chains, and would somewhat sigh of relief as she'd somewhat kind of get out of that, and Madara just narrow his eyes and would somewhat cast those damn chains. And yeah, so from there they would somewhat obviously continue, and yeah, though as more people potentially tried to somewhat kind of aid in that, and more were now somewhat focusing on him and that, he'd slowly managed to get the other tailed beasts. And yeah, though one thing she'd realised, and they'd somewhat confirmed, that at least when Shikaku had been sealed away, seconds later she'd heard his voice in her head, and she was confused before Kurama and Shikaku had somewhat explained to her that the somewhat others had given, that all of them had given up, minus obviously the fox had given up a small part of their own chakra and some obviously a bit of some of that consciousness, so that when sealed away they could communicate with her. And yeah, you'd be surprised I should ask if the others would have this somewhat luxury as well, which it would just shake its head, saying that no, and only she would. So the chakra in there somewhat seal you gave them would somewhat drain away, but though we would somewhat confirm that, you know, they would be alive, it would actually succeed in somewhat healing, or at least keeping them alive enough so that their body would return back to normal, somewhat that. Yeah, those should somewhat ask if about her. Rich the Fox would state that he wasn't exactly sure, even though her hidden, and he would say that, you know, your hidden ability should be able to keep you alive, that it's still potentially possible that you still die due to just how long we have been since you've been, you know, me and you've been together since obviously you're born, so you're practically born. And yeah, though Shikaku somewhat smack and go, I've been mine before he was even somewhat born, and Fox go, so there is somewhat a difference. And it somewhat just quack its eyebrow, though she'd somewhat be thrown obviously back into some of the fight, so she wouldn't hear what the Fox would somewhat say, in which was that Naruto was a tiny bit tailed beast, as his own chakra had been somewhat, you know, ever since her Naruto, the ability of somewhat egg which would grow, or at least, grow and form into Naruto, which would become, you know, an infant, you know, newborn Naruto. The second it had, or at least once it had been, you know, somewhat had become fertile, once it had been, you know, been given the go ahead to start obviously forming, you know, the child, it had been absorbing some, you know, a tiny but constant amount of Fox's chakra. So yeah, so minus, you know, somewhat, while Scar may have, you know, been somewhat the one touched Cherokee since a month or so prior to being born. Naruto had practically been born a small amount of beast, and that their synchronization may truly be what somewhat kill her, due to pretty much her body maybe now someone, so, you know, potentially Fox obviously wasn't sure, and the Shikaku would somewhat not now somewhat understanding, and yeah. Anyway, and so somewhat from there, as somewhat it would, as it would similarly obviously wind down into somewhat night, and somewhat as it would go into the somewhat next morning, she would be found to be the only Jinchuriki left. He'd managed to throughout since he'd come since he'd joined the fight, he'd been somewhat fighting, he'd been slowly getting, and frankly the other previous 8 Jinchuriki are very much alive, granted, you know, not exactly, you know, with the most amount of chakra, but they're still providing some amount of help, and or are just somewhat recovering. And yeah, mainly somewhat probably Killer Bee would be truly somewhat the main one that would be somewhat recovering, and maybe even Yujito, due to I think those two, and also you know, somewhat the other that have been, well, yeah, so the only ones that actually would be still somewhat fine would be Sakura and I forgot her name. I think it's Chome, the Jinchuriki of Chome. the Seven Tails. I've got a name now. I didn't remember her name in the first place. Yeah, she'd also be fine due to the fact they were relatively within the same age. I think maybe she may be slightly older, maybe slightly younger, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, they would somewhat be relatively, somewhat still in the fight, and yeah. Though of course, it's somewhat though Madara only somewhat would ask similarly Toby, or now very much known. Well, no, not that known just yet. If he'd somewhat had gotten, just as it somewhat hit midnight, he'd gotten the last one. Well, not last one, the 8 tails, and somewhat hours, into that, some hours later, probably, say 6 hours later, into somewhat the night after midnight, Minato, the four Konoha Hokage, so first, second, third, and fourth would all arrive, because obviously somewhat Sasuke in that, and Karin would also heal, because somewhat, what they'd initially, stopped at, so actually no, they'd still be alive, they wouldn't be in there somewhat spot, but anyway, yeah. So they'd also, somewhat, obviously would somewhat arrive, and yeah, and so they would somewhat attack, and well, yeah, or at least someone that's when they'd arrive. So about somewhat morning, they would somewhat obviously manage to form the 10 tails, and then from there he would, or at least somewhat he'd have initially somewhat Obito take it, but after some time of somewhat fighting and that, and also having successfully the other 8 tails being pulled out of him, Madara would re-pull back in the 8 tails, and yeah, he would manage to pull them back in, and also this time he would also pull in Naruto's tail beast, and should be thrown somewhat into immediately shock. Of course, the other the 9 obviously would leave her, and while she'd have 8, somewhat 8, obviously somewhat kind of tailed beasts inside of her, or at least somewhat small amount of their chakra inside of her, and a small amount of the fox's chakra now coming from a seal to try and keep her alive, which was it somewhat potentially failing, and yeah. Though, because Minato would somewhat run over and would start putting in, giving somewhat her his half, and Obito would somewhat, try and obviously take it, though Sakura with a chakra enhanced punch would send him flying away, so he'd never stand a chance. And yeah, they would manage to successfully give her the somewhat, Minato would successfully give her his half, and yeah, those should still be in a somewhat form of shock, but yeah, though similarly some time would somewhat go by, and she'd end up somewhat similarly coming to with a odd mark on her hand. She'd been in the space between the living and dead, and that she'd gotten the seal to potentially seal away Kaguya as, pretty much the 10 tails, and yeah, so, and Sasuke had gotten the moon mark, and so from there, of course, somewhat more fighting, and that would obviously happen And yeah, though eventually somewhat Madra would end up healing, obviously, well no, not it telling him to pull it all the way in, as it would already been, who'd end up doing the somewhat, yeah, who'd end up doing the tree, and obviously that would start, absorbing obviously somewhat the nature, or at least the energy somewhat from people, though Sasuke would obviously manage to do a Susanoo covering the somewhat the ninth in Cherokee, so Naruto, Kakashi, Guy, and yeah, somewhat who he done in somewhat canon, and yeah, and somewhat from there, the somewhat once the eternal the some eternal genjutsu. I can't think of it, the name at the moment, but yeah, he would end up casting that. That obviously successfully cast, and yeah, once that was obviously done, they'd all somewhat start fighting again, to which then Black Setsu would end up somewhat revealing and obviously plunging itself into what's his name, Madara, which had been revived from Obito just before, or at least just as he was starting to potentially obviously somewhat revolt somewhat. And yeah, anyway, so somewhat from there, of course, somewhat who Madara would end up becoming somewhat Kage Otsutsuki, and from there the fight would somewhat go kind of like in canon, just somewhat Naruto and Kakashi's obviously teamwork would be a lot better, and yeah, one thing or at least something would be obviously difference would be when they'd be stuck on that kind of prison world with the insane gravity, where Kakashi and Obito would end up somewhat jumping, put something in front of them, though somewhat have to build up just enough, or at least would somewhat after someone builds up a seemingly shite ton of chocolate to just get a freaking chain out of her someone's body, should manage to get it out and form a barrier just in time as it hit into the barrier, and she was immediately kind of somewhat ready to just cut the somewhat chain and just but it just hit into the somewhat tomb and it wouldn't do nothing. She would cut the chain, though, just somewhat in case she obviously didn't want to certainly die or whatever. Yeah, somewhat saying that as it didn't work, and Kaguya somewhat being somewhat annoyed by the insane gravity, would end up changing dimensions again, and yeah, and somewhat so of course yeah. So yeah, though somewhat as they would somewhat fight, it would somewhat end up somewhat asking Naruto if by any chance she could maybe give him somewhat another Sharingan. She'd somewhat look at him and somewhat in kind of confusement, and she'd end up remembering, of course, she'd managed to somehow keep Guy alive. So she'd make a army of clones which would try and occupy Kaguya, and she'd give her true skills to another Sharingan clone to completely sort of fool her in the sort of army, and she'd manage to successfully give him a Mangekyo Sharingan, to which he'd look over to sort of Kakashi, and Kakashi would realise what he was sort of wanting. Would he cop out on his somewhat eye? Well, though, or at least somewhat to his surprise, Obito somewhat after a bit would or at least somewhat bring out a early scroll which would have a jar of somewhat liquid in it, which would obviously be able to preserve his somewhat eye. And well, if Naruto could copy, obviously could form another Sharingan, she could obviously plop in he could plop in his somewhat original eye and have two of his eyes again, or that. And so he'd somewhat just nod, he'd somewhat sacred, he'd somewhat call the Naruto and should somewhat come over and should, or at least somewhat would somewhat would help. Well, yeah, should obviously switch to somewhat give, or at least his opposite eye to Kakashi. And due to the fact that I had obviously somewhat Hashirama cells somewhat in it, or at least circulating in it, both his eyes, or at least Kakashi's eyes would end up evolving into Mangekyo Sharingan. Both of them were already Mangekyo Sharingan, so the only difference would be that his other eye that was slowly starting to go blind would fix itself due to the Hashirama somewhat cells in the previous somewhat one. And though Naruto would somewhat form his other eye, and Sakura would put the Kakashi Sensei's eye in the somewhat drop of liquid and sealing it away, would somewhat put it on a somewhat body to keep it obviously safe. And and so there'd be two people with dual Mangekyo Sharingan, Kakashi, and somewhat they would somewhat just nod at one another, although or at least somewhat before that, as Sakura was doing somewhat properly healing somewhat one eye, she would kind of somewhat cut and heal his other eye again, which Kakashi would end up noticing that it's so that when he someone would ask him, she'd state that she was properly healing it, so that he may after a fair bit of training may be able to actually stop the flow of chakra into the eye, or somewhat deactivate the Sharingan eye. You'd somewhat be surprised, but and somewhat from there, both him and both him and Kakashi would somewhat kind of end up doing dual Susanos. Of course, both would be somewhat the same Susano, just two giant, exactly the same looking Susanos. And of course, somewhat from there though, or at least they, Kaku's end up teleporting them to somewhat the realm where Sasuke and Naruto would be able to get her, and they would somewhat seal her away, finally. And so from there, of course, somewhat Black obviously Setsu would try and get away. Those who'd end up knocking and throwing him onto the building moon. And the other somewhat type beasts would be obviously pulled out, and though they would then somewhat kind of look at one another and then go, how am I meant to get back to it? So that would somewhat curse, and though Kakashi and Obito would somewhat deactivate that, Obito would deactivate his Susanoo and Sharingan eyes. Kakashi would deactivate his Susanoo, and he would only be able to successfully deactivate one eye, the eye he just had implanted. So he'd put his headband over somewhat the still kind of activated somewhat eye. It seemed like Sakura may have to quite literally pull it out and then plop it back in to truly heal it potentially properly, or it could be just you know, that it's that he's so used to having it active that he may have to try and do something else. And yeah, anyway, though from there, of course, the stage 6 pass would end up summoning them, and after somewhat her battling with Sasuke, which she'd still be stronger than Sasuke, so Sasuke would be the only one to lose an arm. So it would be over. Sakura would end up kind of healing Sasuke, and yeah. And so yeah, of course, someone from there, stage 6 pass would end up releasing at least Sasuke would end up, releasing the planetary devastation, or that. And as the somewhat balling rich would have the other 9-tailed beasts. Yeah, and yeah. And obviously somewhat Kurama from there would then go back into somewhat Naruto, and surprisingly somewhat the 8 tails would go, or not 8 tails, but yeah, 8 tails would go back inside of Killer Bee, and the 3 tails would go back inside Sakura. Actually, somewhat liking her, of course, that would be if she'd wanted to, which she'd somewhat nod, and yeah. Anyway, and so somewhat from there, obviously somewhat maybe, some others may also go inside of there, somewhat, respecting Shuku as that Shuku were somewhat alive, so the ones that really, they somewhat liked, which would probably be, all the tappies come back inside of there to Jinchuriki, because, it was obviously sure, they could free roam now and they had the option, but they had, somewhat people they, finally kind of become friends with, plus they all had chakra in one person, that being Naoto Uzumaki, and yeah, they'd all agreed during the fight that she was like the Sage's 6 paths, the child of prophecy. And yeah, anyway, and so with that, guys, the war would be over, and yeah, of course, somewhat, obviously AIM would pretty much be destroyed, though thankfully the civilian, or at least some of the civilians that, or at least, they, the Allied Shinobi forces did do their best to keep as many civilians, AIM civilians alive, and yeah. And so, of course, from there, they'd go back to some of the, time would obviously pass. Sasuke would obviously be put in jail, so would Obito, but with Kakashi end up winding up as the 6th Hokage. That, and also, Tsunade would end up developing the, the somewhat, arm that she'd produced for both Sasuke and Naruto, though of course Naruto wouldn't need one, so that in canon would have gone to Naruto, would actually go to Jiraiya. So yes, Jiraiya would have a Hashirama sound arm, but hey, he was now dual wielding hands and he had 2 hands again. And yeah, though he did initially try and decline, but should state that his somewhat time wasn't just yet, so yeah. Anyway, and yeah, and with that I'm gonna end it here, guys, this series and this what if part here. So if you have enjoyed it, do tell me in the comments down below, and yes, I know this isn't the greatest ending, I'm not good at ending what ifs. I'm okay at starting them and coming up with ideas, but I'm not good at ending what ifs whatsoever, so yeah. Sorry for the seemingly lackluster ending, guys, but yeah, this is why I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this what if series, do tell me in the comments down below, and yeah, guys, guess I'll see you Friday for a somewhat potentially new what if, depending on what you guys decide, of course. So yeah, guys, have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are and whenever you somewhat watch this, and good bye.